That's dope.
Yeah, I know. I had to find it out. I think it's like you had like the certain membership and shit. You know how that shit be.
Right. You got to build it up.
Yeah. Welcome back to PoPolitickin.com, your home for self-help meets hip-hop. Right now we're live on YouTube. But check us out on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. 1212 and place to be with Ras Ceylon. How you doing?
Yo, salute, blessed, feeling good.
I see your shirt. I see you.
Yeah, man. Long live Chairman Fred. You know.
What's the quote on there?
You can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution.
That's what's up.
Yeah, one of the chairman's famous quotes, you know.
I was gonna ask you about. So I want you to talk about your name because I was reading that the last name actually means something else, and that's actually I don't even know how to say it. So you gotta tell me how to say the other name.
You said it perfect. That was good. Most people.
No, but it means something else though. It means like Sri Lankan or something.
Yeah, exactly. So Ceylon was the name of the island of Sri Lanka, was where my peoples come from. When it was colonized and occupied by the European imperialists, specifically the British colonizers, they called my island Ceylon, right? And so with kind of the Ras, we put the Ras in front of it to kind of decolonize it. You know what I mean? Because with Rastafari being kind of a decolonial spiritual movement that I've been, a part of since I was a teenager. Basically that's the concept, to decolonize my island, or Ras Ceylon. So it's kind of a mission statement as well as a handle.
Yeah, so I was going back, man. I was looking on your YouTube. I went to your first video and I saw you always been spitting the knowledge in your videos.
Yeah, man, long time, man. I'm thankful. I come from a long line and a crew of spitters that conscious spitters coming from the kind of West Coast underground hip hop scene, you know what I'm saying, movement that's been since like the mid 90s. That's when I came up, you know what I'm saying, put out my first record in 99, and have been going from there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, how did you, what brought you to hip hop in the first place?
Man, like many of us, man, I say hip hop saved my life, you know what I'm saying? As a young man growing up, in Southern California, it wasn't a lot of positive outlets for us, you know what I mean? And I had a certain infatuation with the street life and stuff like that. And yeah, man, it was just, but always being a practitioner of the culture, like even as a youngster, trying to like b-boy, breakdance and whatnot, then get a little older, try my hand at graffiti art. By about junior high, I had founded a DJ crew. But so we used to do like house parties and stuff like that, open mics or whatever, but I never had enough money for my own turntables. So what ended up happening in our 4-man crew, I ended up being the guy on the mic a lot, right? And I used to write poetry when I was a kid and essentially just turned, poetry to freestyles, to writing rhymes and, hosting parties, battling MCs. Like basically if you wanted to get on the mic, you had to go through me at those house parties. So, the mid 90s, man, it was like a lot of battling, you know what I mean? But again, like to my earlier point, that was a very much a positive outlet, you know what I mean? Because there wasn't a lot outside of this little kind of oasis of hip hop culture. There wasn't much that was productive for us, you know what I mean? In terms of in the streets or in the schools, we were kind of alienated, isolated from a lot of people. But within the hip hop community is where we kind of found a safe space to express ourselves in a positive way. You know what I mean?
So you was like play on Kid and Play. You said they had to come through you first before you
a little something.
Yeah, to battle you to get the mic.
A little something, man. A little something. You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting because I don't really have that battle rapper kind of style no more, but that's definitely my foundation. You know what I'm saying?
And then you from where you at right now?
So I'm right here in the Bay Area.
Okay.
So I've been in Oakland, California, a little over 20 years. But I grew up in SoCal. You know what I mean? LA, right south of LA, Santa Ana, Orange County area. I'm Bay to LA. You know what I'm saying?
I live in San Diego County right now.
Oh well, okay, that's what's up.
By the base, Oceanside.
Yeah, I know Oceanside. I got some people from Oceanside, man.
All right, that's what's up. So, who were some of the MCs like say before you became really out there with the MCing? Who were some MCs you kind of like studied, they, I guess, look up to and studied and kind
For
of
sure.
took some from, added your own style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early on, I even had a line where I said, Chuck D instruct me to think politically, right? Because back in like third, fourth grade, I remember being in my friend's house and his older brother was playing something out of his room. I was like, what the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? And then can I curse on here? I don't know if I curse.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
good, man.
All right, for sure. But I was like, yo, what the fuck is that? And then I came in and he was bumping It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. You know what I'm saying? Public Enemy's second album. And I remember my mind was blown about like the audio, the sound, the lyrics, everything. And so Chuck D was one of my really early influences. And also, honestly, Eazy-E, you know what I'm saying? NWA, like I love Public Enemy. NWA was like my favorite shit in like elementary school. As I started getting a little older, Tupac was my hero, man. Tupac Shakur, that was like, when he was alive, like I really, I thought I was like the Sri Lankan Tupac, you know what I'm saying? I had a bald head, gold chains, all that. I really
You had a nose ring?
Yeah, and I didn't have the nose ring though.
So you was Tupac without the nose ring?
Basically. But Pac was my hero, man. And so when he was assassinated, I was about 16 years old, and that was a very that was impactful for me because I really was, we was banging on some West Side and like just riding with him, you know what I'm saying? And so kind of seeing how he ended up really had me kind of thinking twice about, you know what I'm saying, just the whole idea of kind of that sort of thug life mentality, you know what I'm saying? Although we know, he diagnosed thug life to have a deeper meaning than what's out there. But, it was after, so those are like the three I would say: Pac, Easy, Chuck D, the early ones, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna say the thing I like about Chuck D the most, and I was like little when I had heard that line, but I still remember it when he was like on self-destruction. He was like, I never had to run from the Ku Klux Klan. I shouldn't have to run from white men.
Right.
I was like, shit. Right. I was little heard that shit, but I was like, that shit like just stuck it. Like, I never forgot that damn line ever.
I think that was Big Daddy Kane that said that actually. I could be wrong. I think that was Kane on self-destruction. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, whoever shit. Well, he was.
Yeah, that shit was hard. Yeah, man. Also, Rakim, I gotta say, like, Rakim was also I really liked a lot of East Coast shit, even though I was out here in Cali. Rakim was huge, man. Just hear his voice and his flow was so crazy to me. And then even as I started developing my own style as an MC, I remember Guru from Gangstar had that song, It's Mostly the Voice. And I took that very seriously. I was like, all right, well, if I'm gonna be an MC, I need to work on my rap voice and make sure that that's unique, original, and tight. And so, yeah, it's definitely thankful. And then obviously all my crew are all older than me. You know what I'm saying? They're all about 5-7 years older. And those dudes were definitely early influences because, like I said, around the time 96, 97, like after Pac was killed, is when I kind of linked with my brethren, and they were all Rastafarians mostly, and also just ill MCs. And so they kind of took me under their wing. So I learned a lot with them and stuff.
Yeah, I would say, and you was talking about 96, 97. So what's so important about 1999?
Right. So yeah, the reason why I dropped, my new single.
Like I did that?
Huh?
Like I did that?
Yeah. It's a good segue. Yeah, man. So like 99 was when I put out my first record, right? Or my first album, which was a cassette tape. You know what I mean? It was a cassette tape printed up myself. I had a red cassette tape, kind of inspired by, Raekwon. That's the other thing. I was big hieroglyphics, Wu-Tang. Those are some of my, brothers that I was inspired by, living legends. So we were part of that kind of West Coast underground scene where, we basically print up our own shit, and then we do what we call dirt hustling. We basically stand in front of the store, sell our shit, have it on headphones, battle cats, whatever. And so 99 was when I released my first album. It's also when I first moved to the Bay. And later on, it comes to find out that, that first album, that tape, is considered like the first rap album by a Sri Lankan. You know what I mean? So I kind of wanted to celebrate that, and also with some of the things that are going on right now in Sri Lanka with the with the political changes that are happening. Whereas the present government that was in power, they were kicked out by the people, but that same government had actually banned my music from commercial radio in Sri Lanka and kind of had put a little target on me, you know what I'm saying, when I was living out there about 10 years ago. So it was really to kind of commemorate all that, like the victory of the Sri Lankan people, the fact that I put out my first joint, that year, moved to the Bay that year. So it was really a pivotal year for me, 99, you know?
So they have like just like regular rap and hip hop out there?
A little bit now they do. Back then they didn't. You know what I'm saying? Back then they didn't, but now they definitely do. It's way more proliferated in the different languages that they speak out there, different styles and stuff. So
They got
yeah,
trap out there and shit.
they got everything, bro. It's crazy. They got everything. You know what I mean? Which is it's pretty interesting to see because even 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't even like that. So we definitely see kind of the growth and development of hip hop globally. You know what I mean?
And what was you saying? You were saying like you just said something. You kind of said it fast, but you said they was after you or something because you dropped the music.
Yeah, man. Oh, excuse my cat, man. He just, this is their house. I just live here.
I know. I see. He said, "Damn." He said, "Excuse you."
Right. Walking all over, man.
God damn.
Yeah, they give no fucks. But yeah, man. So in 2012, I was living in Sri Lanka because there was a civil war there from '83 to 2009. So my whole life visiting that place, it was always a civil war. So it was pretty intense. But then I went there after the war was over to kind of help rebuild the the island was doing some reconciliation work with the two sides of the factions that were fighting. And then so I made a song which was like a peace anthem. It was like a post-war peace anthem. It was called Heal Lanka. And it's getting really popular. It was, playing on the radio. And I was getting a lot of attention. And then when I came back to America, my people was out there, they sent me this letter that they got basically from the government saying that they can no longer play my song on the radio due to the political climate, yada, yada, yada. And later on, they raided the video production team where we had shot a video for it with like a major movie production team, and they raided them, stole the footage from the video, and so they stopped all that shit from coming out. And so yeah, man, so that government had been in power from then 2012 until literally like a couple weeks ago. So now it's finally safe for me to go back. So I do plan to return pretty soon now. Try to go see my grandfather's out there. He's 101 years old, so really want to go see him and some other fam and stuff. You know what I mean?
And then what was the Civil War about?
The Civil War is classic post-colonial struggle, man. Where like when the colonizers when they did their thing, man, during those 500 years, man, what they did oftentimes is they would take the minority group in a country or in a space and make them have the elite status, right? So then when they leave, when the colonizers bounce, now what you have happened, and this happens all over the place, where now you have the majority group, they want to reclaim their power because during colonial times they were made to be less than, right? And so now what they do is they become the oppressors. They pretty much take the whip, you know what I'm saying? From them. And so that's what happened in Sri Lanka. So the minority group started getting very, very repressed after independence, so-called independence, and they formed a rebel army called the Tamil Tigers. And the Tamil Tigers was no joke, man. They were some of the first people doing all kinds of crazy suicide bombings, tactics like that. And so it was an intense war. And then what they wanted to do is they wanted to carve out a piece of the island for themselves because they felt like the government wasn't, treating the people right. And so it lasted, again, like I said, 83 to 2009. So it was a long, intense struggle,
Well, I know one time you just said it ended like a couple weeks ago. So what ended a couple weeks ago?
So yeah, a couple weeks ago is so they've been having about three months straight of protests out there because the economy is in a terrible situation right now. There's like a food, gas, medicine, a shortage to the point where people are dying in line trying to get gas. It's crazy, and a lot of this is because of the mismanagement from that present government. So what they did is they had about 3 months of protests, demanding that the government step down. The president and his brother stepped down, who was the prime minister, and they just successfully did that. In fact, you can look it up. It was pretty amazing, man. About 100,000 people rushed the president's palace and basically got into his house and was swimming in his pools, like doing the fool, you know what I mean? And so now that present government is out of power. But that's the same government that won the Civil War. So their whole thing was like they felt like they was untouchable because they ended this war that no one thought would be over. But they were not. Sri Lanka's had terrible politicians, man, since 1948. You know what I mean? So the situation is still pretty rough, even though we got rid of the tyrannical regime. the economic situation is still very, very crucial out there, you know?
You said dying in line to get gas?
Yeah, man, it's serious. It's serious. It's like literally a humanitarian crisis right there. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah. And not a lot of people talk about it. I just did an interview the other day on the radio out here, and like not a lot of people know about it or talk about it. But it's 22 million people on the island, so it's not that small of a place, right? But at the same time, it's not on people's radars very much, which is also part of the reason why I, even early on chose the name that reflects kind of my heritage, because I always wanted to just make it be known that I'm representing for my peoples, even though I don't live there. I was born and raised in Cali. It's still, in my heart. You know what I mean?
We was about to go into that 1999 video.
All right. Shout out MC Pros on the videography.
Chairman Fred said legacy worth more than life, meaning what you leave on earth is how you define. I'll be damned if history don't record mines. I've been in books, so my story's not that hard to find. Might I remind what's happened since 1999? DEA raided my label, wasn't shit to find. I took it overseas, still stayed on the grind. My island made infamous cause of war crimes. I spoke for healing and unity, then they banned me. Music got repressed, no stress, I keep a plan B. Insanity, doing the same, expecting different result. My brain stay on smash mode, Incredible Hulk. Don't insult originals with no imitators. Keep it a buck and trust, I always been an innovator. More than an entertainer, full-time educator. Chosen one like Anakin, ended up Darth Vader. You don't know who I am if you don't know where I've been. Look at 1999. Check your resume. 1999. Yo, if you don't know where I've been, then you won't know who I am since 1999. Yeah, 1999. Come on. Word up, West Coast. Stolen land, holding grams, just a young lad. Selling bags, writing raps with my pen and pad. It's what I had to feel better than bad. Take a stab, no lab, just a 4-trap. So glad that the homies went and copped that. At 15 and 96, made my first tracks. No wax, just a tape with hella feedback. Who knew this the spark of my deep past? 3 years later, debuting stores and all that. Independent, out the trunk, so you do the math. Press my own stash, eliminate the middleman. Underground fans supplied with new fire jams. LA to the Bay, rocking mics, feeling like the man. My dirt hustle turning hundreds in a couple grand. Divine plan, decades later, and I still stand on my own too, like only the first line can rap again. You don't know who I am if you don't know where I've been since 1999. Yeah, 1999. Yo, if you don't know where I've been, then you won't know who I am since 1999. Yeah, 1999. Come on.
I went to Sri Lanka, they said, yo, you're the first rapper, man. Since you dropped that tape, we consider that the first joint right there. You know what I mean? So this just fits all correctly. Do the math.
You don't know who I am if you don't know where I've been since 1999. Yeah, 1999. Yo, if you don't know where I've been, then you won't know who I am since 1999. Yeah, 1999.
Yeah, I like that joint. I said,
Right
you need to go get Larry June on the remix.
Right, man. It might be out my budget range, you know what I'm saying? But it's all love.
Hey, I was like, you probably be singing for real, huh?
Nah, not me, bro. What's crazy is, I'll be honest with you, I was in the lab and literally I wrote that hook for someone else to come sing it. But when I was in the studio recording the song, the engineer, and shout out to my man Prodigal Son from Sons of Man, he was in the studio with me, and they was just like, yo, man, do that shit yourself. Like, it sounds good, man. Do that shit. And I was like, what? All right, so let me try it. And then, you know, it came out how it came out. You know what I mean? And so I'm not a singer at all. You know what I'm saying? I might croon a little bit. You know what I mean? But I'm starting to figure out a different range for myself, like where I can do more than just rap. You know what I'm saying?
Then what was that part where you was talking about DEA?
Oh yeah, that was on World Star, man. Back then in 2008. Yeah, man, the DEA raided my label at the time, Throwback Records, in Santa Ana. Yeah, man, they came through, man. They fucked our shit up. You know what I'm saying? They basically, like, you can look at the whole video. It's actually on my YouTube page too. It used to be on World Star. I'm not sure if it still is, but yeah, you saw the footage where basically they ruined our entire studio, our warehouse, and you know, because it was a bunch of brown and black dudes in Orange County in and out of this spot. You know what I'm saying? Making music and making moves. And you know, some of my brothers, man, had been involved in the street life as well, so there might have been some ties with that. But yeah, man, that pretty much, it sucked because I had just dropped the video "Better Be Ready" with Stickman from Dead Prez. We dropped that video, and then a week later, the DEA raids the label, and then, you know, basically that kind of killed the momentum of the label. So by the time my album came out, my only album that's been released on a label, which is Scientific Nonfiction, the label was defunct pretty much at that point. So yeah, I've been through a lot of shit, man, in terms of like repression or, like, you know what I mean, resistance to my music, even though I am an underground cat with not a lot of people know who I am or whatever. The state and the powers that be know who the fuck we are. And that's one thing that's been very clear. You know what I mean?
I'm saying, what's the name of that video? You said it's on your YouTube page?
Yeah, it's called, if you look up Ras Ceylon, The Damage.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
We can watch it right now. We got time.
Yeah, it's not long. Let's check it out.
Since 1999. Shit go. I like that. I like the singing one. I like the whole part, but I like that singing.
Hey, I'm not mad, man. Shoot, if I can make a hook that folks remember, that's beautiful. Yeah, right here. This is perfect.
The guns, the drugs, where did those come from? You know they flooded in the hood, now the damage is done.
Throwback Records headquarters.
Throwback Rex.
You know what I'm saying? As you
We
can
trying
see,
to put the Rex in throwback, man. You know what I'm saying? Pig don't fuck this up, man. Out here doing legal business, man. Illegal business control America, right? We do legal business and they still try to control us, man. You see that? We gonna get it though. They can't stop us. We do what we want, man. It's throwback, man. Get on some real shit. Pigs wanna bust in your shit, homie. You got locks on your doors, homie? It's nothing. They got sledgehammers for that. Motherfuckers have files and shit. Oh yeah, they gonna go through your files, homie. You gonna get your paperwork. They gonna have all your shit. You know? Oh, this is classic right here too. Just let them know that who they're looking for. They put our shit out, right? They put our pictures out right there. And right over here too. To make sure. For their fucking little bitch ass archives. So they can go home and jack off to our pictures and shit. This is it, man. This is how they corrupt a tight organization, man. We had all this shit organized, man. Throwback Records. You don't see nothing like this in Santa Ana, in Orange County, you know what I'm saying? There ain't no label doing it like us. Straight independent. And the pigs fucking with us, dog. Why? Because we're about that real shit, homie. Because we tell people better be ready. We say revolution's in the mind because we say Hoodlum West from almost nothing, homie. They don't want to see the people rise up, homie. So fuck them, you know what I mean? They ain't gonna stop us though. We do what we want, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, man, it's the results, man. But y'all gonna see us back up though. You're gonna see us soon enough, all right? So fuck you to the pigs and more power to the people.
The guns, the drugs, where did those come from? You know they flooded in the hood, now the damage is done.
was like the aftermath of it?
I mean, kind of what I was saying, like basically that kind of like killed the label, you know what I mean? Because you know, so much that we were trying to do was basically kind of stopped by that, you know what I mean? And so that kind of killed it, man. So I kind of went back to just doing my independent thing, you know what I mean?
Somebody shit, did they pay for any of that stuff they fit?
Oh, hell no. Nah, hell no. Nah. You know how they do it. You know how they do it. It's collateral damage to these motherfuckers, you know what I mean?
So did anybody cover it, or you just had to take it as a loss?
Nah, I took it as an L. That was a fat L, you know what I'm saying? We basically lost that space, you know, we lost our lease to the studio and the warehouse, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, everyone kind of scattered after that, you know what I mean?
Damn. So
Yeah.
like, would you, if you had like insurance, would insurance to cover that shit? Or
I'm not sure. I mean, I was just an artist at the time on the label, you know what I mean? So I wasn't, you know, on the higher levels of the organization, you know what I mean? Yeah.
No, that shit crazy. Cause I used to work in Irvine. I used to drive up there all the time. Man, I used to stay pulled over there, so I already know.
Exactly, off top, bro. That's part of the reason why I moved when I was 18 to the Bay, just because I had been coming to the Bay a lot. My sister had lived up here. I had cousins in Oakland, and so I always felt safer in Oakland. You know what I mean? In the hood, West Oakland, Northeast. You know what I mean? Way more than I ever felt in Santa Ana or Orange County. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, man. Especially with the police attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people think because like, you know, Disneyland up there, they probably think like, oh, it's cool, shit.
Right.
Out there.
Right. Nah, that's for real, man. Like even even my mother lives in Huntington Beach, yo, and like even with Huntington Beach, you seen all this shit happen during the Trump times when they were having like basically Klan rallies and shit like that right there in Surf City. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers think it's all cool, but it ain't. You know what I'm saying? Skinheads, neo-Nazis, all them type of crackers, man. Deep out there, you know?
Yeah, I think you say he's working with so you was working with like the Black Panther Cubs?
Cubs, yeah. So I worked, and this is one, you know, part of our one of our shirts that from the organization. So yeah, been working with Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. for almost 20 years now, you know, and he's the international president and chairman of the Black Panther Party Cubs, which is like the organization is really carrying the legacy of the Black Panther Party. And so we have a central committee here in Oakland, our headquarters in Chicago, and chapters all over the world. You know what I mean? So we've been doing a lot of work, a lot of times supporting political prisoners, supporting families of victims of police terrorism, and just all kinds of different works in the community. You know what I mean?
So what's next with you with the music?
The music, I'm really excited, man. I got 2 albums I'm doing right now. One is a solo joint on Chalice Road Records. So 1999 is the first single off that upcoming solo album. I don't have a name for it yet, but it's damn near done. I've been on a roll, man, making a lot of music in the past couple months, more than I did for many years prior. So I got that solo record in the works, some dope features on there, and then I got a collaboration album with Timbo King from Royal Fam, Wu-Tang Killer B. And we just finished the album last week. I went to Denver, Colorado. My boy Dawit Justice, who's part of my OG crew, he made all the beats, and we just knocked out a project, man. So Frontline Generals, I don't know if you've seen that video, but that's the first single off that project. So basically, I got 2 albums on the way, you know what I mean, and a bunch of more videos that we shooting and have shot and are editing and getting ready for the people.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you shit. I was like, man, how you end up working with Tragedy? Yeah, I watched the video.
Okay, right on. Yeah, Trag was on that album back then. Actually, that song that was playing in the background, The Damage, that was my first collab with Trag, and that was back in 2006, 2007. He'd actually hit me up on MySpace, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't believe it was him, you know what I mean? I was like, yo, you know what I mean? It was crazy. So we was chopping it up, whatever. You know, we did the collab, and then the next thing you know, he gets locked up in 2007 as we were getting ready to put the album out. And so I didn't hear from him for a while, and then, you know, got his information while he was locked down. So you should shoot him kites, you know, do some calls, letters back and forth while he was locked down. And when he got out, I believe it was 2010, 11, something like that. When he got out, is like he was really appreciative of the support that we had showed him. So he was just like, yo, let's rock. And so we actually made a bunch of songs. So the album, my last previous album that came out was called Full Metal Jacket, and that was a collab album with me and Tragedy. Again, produced by Dawa Justice. So this new album with Timbo King is kind of like a part 2 of that, except for now it's Timbo instead of Trag. You know what I mean? But yeah, Trag is a legend, man. He's definitely, I spent time with him out there in Queensbridge in New York. From the days of Intelligent Hoodlum, Black and Proud, and Arrest the President, all the way to the 90s with the Mob Deeps and the, all that Queensbridge shit, man. Like half of my crew is from New York City. So we always had a deep appreciation for kind of like that aspect of the culture, even though we're out here in Cali, you know what I mean?
Then what do you want the people to know about you?
Man, just we out here, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to PoPolitickin, man, giving us this platform just to spread the word. August 30th coming up is this man's birthday, Chairman Fred Hampton. And so we have an annual event out there in Chicago on the west side where him and Defense Captain Mark Clark were assassinated on December 4th, 1969. So that's 2337 West Monroe but we call it West Chairman Fred Hampton Way on the west side of Chicago. We start with a vigil there. Then we go to the wall with a big mural for the chairman. Then we take it to the Hampton House where he grew up, which is one of our bases of operations. So just want to let people know about that. August 30th, Chairman Fred's Streets Party in Chicago. If you can make it there, make it. My next live performance is August 20th at the Oregon Reggae Fest. And that's south of Oregon. I forgot the name of the city, but it's a bunch of good reggae artists. I do a lot of reggae music as well. And so definitely folks can come check that out, OregonReggaeFest.com, sponsored by LRG. It should be really fly. And yeah, man, just stay tuned. We definitely got a lot of shit we smacking y'all with. So,
And then I'm gonna ask you, I guess for the younger people, what was important about Fred Hampton? Like, why should they know about him?
Man, Chairman Fred is one of our a revolutionary martyr. This is a freedom fighter who literally gave his life for the people. 21 years old, and was assassinated by the U.S. government through COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program of the FBI, in part with the Chicago Police Department. And one of the most important things about Chairman, he was the leader of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party. And though the Panther Party was founded here in Oakland, its largest chapter was, in terms of membership, was in Illinois under Chairman Fred's leadership. And even the Rainbow Coalition, this was another thing that he put together, where he organized all the street tribes, or what folks call gangs, and unified them. And then he appealed to the Young Lords, a Puerto Rican organization, and unified with them. And even the white Appalachians, called the Young Patriots, and unified them. So he was all about unity amongst oppressed people, and revolution being the solution. So yeah, man, long live Chairman Fred. And I would tell folks to definitely go check out Judas and the Black Messiah, starring Daniel Kaluuya as Chairman Fred Hampton. This is a beautiful film, man. We actually helped consult on that film, and it's very historically accurate. Despite the fact that it's a Hollywood production, we were able to sneak a lot of truth in there. So if folks want to learn more about the chairman, definitely check out that movie.
What do you think about that old movie back in the day, Panther? Remember that movie?
Yeah, hell yeah. Matter of fact, I went and rewatched it. I was like, yo, that shit's kind of dope. It's pretty on point, man. Like at the time, I remember when it came out, and being here in the Bay, especially Oakland, a lot of my elders are, what we call veterans of the party. And so, some of them had some issues with the movie, but I went back and watched it. It's on YouTube. I tell people I use it when I teach. Like I use clips from it because I think it was done really well, particularly the guy that played Minister Huey P. Newton, man, on point. You know what I mean? So that's kind of a slept on classic. And it's one of those films that they make sure they don't show it. Like you'll never see Panther on BET, despite the fact that it's Mario Van Peebles. You'll never see it.
Hey,
you don't see it on.
That shit funny. You said that shit on YouTube. They didn't even try to take it down. They like, fuck
not
you.
At all. They don't give a fuck. They never digitized it either. Like you can't get it on DVD. You know what I'm saying? Like, so anytime it's like that,
so somebody made a copy of VHS and threw it on there.
Exactly. That's the only way you can get it. I've seen it bootleg like that. But Panther, I suggest folks go check it out. I think it came out 1996 or something like that.
I thought it was 1999.
Nah, a little earlier. But yeah, man, check that out. Panther's a good one. But definitely Judas and the Black Messiah, man. It's a modern classic. You know what I'm saying?
Who is your hero?
Man, I have a lot, man. But honestly, if I use the word hero, I would say the people, man, the masses. You know what I mean? Like I'm most inspired by the masses of the people because, to me, like you know, heroic acts can happen all the time. You know what I mean? And we never know. So even young people, as an educator, the young people I work with, I try to champion them. You know what I mean? In terms of leadership, my leadership again, Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. I also work with Sizzla Kalonji from Jamaica, a very inspirational reggae artist. So he has his crew is known as Judgment Yard. So I'm a part of the Judgment Yard family as well. And so yeah, man, that's my leadership. That's who I kind of look to for guidance in terms of politics, spirituality, culture, all that expression. Like definitely Sizzla. Big up and big up to Chairman Fred and all my loved ones, man. The same brothers that you saw in the 1999 video, I've known them cats since 1999 and previous. So that's who I was with back then. So, I'm all about loyalty, man, and staying true to your people. So, definitely, man. And my biggest hero, to be honest, though, Ma Dukes. You know what I mean? Like I owe a lot of who I am to my mother, man. Like a lot of my consciousness of wanting to be a good, a lot of my principles, my integrity, like that work ethic, all that comes from Ma Duke. So truly, if I would say any one individual, my mom's my hero for sure.
Man, what advice would you give to a new artist?
Man, the new artist, I would say be true to yourself. Don't worry about what's gonna, who's gonna like your shit or what this person may think of this or that. Be true to whatever you're hearing in your heart and in your mind in terms of the music, particularly your heart. Be true to that. Be original. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of times nowadays, cats feel like they gotta sound like somebody else. They gotta look like somebody else. They gotta appeal in a way that makes people think about other people. But to me, the dopest thing about hip hop was everyone was always, at least in the 80s and 90s coming up, everyone was always really original. And to me, that's the best part about hip hop is like it's a culture where you can find your own true voice. And so I would tell folks to stay true to that, especially nowadays. You don't have to worry about signing to a record label or getting radio play. Like it's all independent, man. You upload your shit, put it online and see what it do, right? So if you're gonna do that, there's no point in compromising your artistic integrity. So just keep it real to yourself, That's what I try to do.
And then what would you like to say to your fans and supporters?
Man, just big up. I know I was kind of dormant for a while there, right? Where I wasn't putting out that much music, but a lot of cats was on my head, just like, yo, when's the new shit? When's the new shit? And back in December, I went to New York City to do some business, and cats was hitting me up at shows in the street, like, yo, Ras, what up? When's the new album? I'm like, man, that's crazy. I had going all the way to New York and having cats recognize me, man. So I'm just super humbled and appreciative that after 20 plus years in this music game, that the cats still recognize me, man, because I've always kept it humble. I never really tried to put myself out there like some superstar and shit, but like I just appreciate the fact that I do have so much consistent support. When we drop shit, the numbers are looking great, and like, yeah, man. So just thank you, and just I got much more for y'all, much more for the supporters for sure.
And how long you been growing your hair?
About 20 years too. I think right around that time when I moved to the Bay is when I first started growing my locks. So yeah, about 20 years. You know what I'm saying?
So what made you do that? What's the purpose behind it?
My cats are going crazy right now. Sorry. Hey, chill out. They be fighting and shit. Okay. With locks. So initially it was as through the Rastafarian tradition. You know what I mean? And it's really about kind of like separating yourself from like the Western image of what beauty is or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like kind of a rejection of society. And back in the day, you didn't see a lot of like athletes or entertainers with dreads, right? It was really only, for the most part, Rastafarians or people within the Black liberation movement that actually held locks. But now it's more common, which is cool. But yeah, man, for me, it's all about.
I think he cut off. Welcome to Turn Rocks out in the streets. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up. We're almost done anyway. So we'll wrap it up with the homie. Make sure you check the, oh, there you go, he came back on.
Yo, you hear me?
Yeah, we back.
Yeah, my fault, fam. I had someone calling on WhatsApp and I
Oh.
tried to hit reject and I don't know what the hell.
I would say, damn, your cat did that too.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised these motherfuckers, but no, yeah, my bad. Sorry, what was the question? What were we talking about?
Oh shit, we was just wrapping it up. I was just gonna say, thanks for coming through politicking with me.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Appreciate you, bro. Real talk.
No doubt. What's your social media and everything?
Yeah, try to make it easy. You can find me at RasCeylon everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, YouTube, everywhere is just Ras Ceylon, and even on all the streaming platforms, it's RasCeylon, man. Just check me out. Definitely out there and got a lot more stuff coming for y'all real soon too.